Ho-oh paired with Terapagos and Toxapex was able to win a really early Regulation I tournament. We're going to be trying out a recreation of the team and seeing how well it can perform. This is Hello Cramorant's Wide League winning team. Let's break it down. First, we have the Terapagos with the leftovers and the Terra Shell ability with the Stellar Terra type with Terra Starstorm, Earth Power, Substitute, and Protect. Yeah, it's really interesting not to see Calm Mind on Terapagos, but the idea of this team isn't really to go for Calm Minds as your setup. The idea of this team is to use Toxapex and its toxic spikes to chip away at your opponent so they can finish it off with a very strong Terra Starstorm and Earth Power, with a very invested Terapagos with max special attack, so you are able to finish off weakened foes. You're able to stall and chip away at your opponent with the toxic spikes using the substitute on Terapagos, healing with the leftovers and grassy terrain, and the Terra Shell. It's a great combination in general. And Earth Power is very useful to be able to hit Zamazenta, which is a very common Pokemon in the Regulation I format, and something that's needed against a lot of steel types that are immune to the toxic spikes. Overall, the Terapagos, you are invested to have pretty much max special attack, because this one's more focused on doing immediate damage than it is with a Calm Mind slow setup that we commonly see with the bold defensive nature, as this one's just supposed to be doing as much damage as possible, finishing off weakened or chipped foes. And you have a lot of speed on this Terapagos. It is 164 speed, and that allows it to outspeed foes, especially the base 135 neutral nature speed Pokemon with a Icy Wind support from the Flutter Mane. So after those base 135s go to -1 speed, the Terapagos will be able to outspeed them, and then the remaining goes into HP. But overall, this Terapagos is looking to chip away at your opponent, wait for the opportunity to attack, and like the fable tale of the tortoise and the hare, the turtle will be having a slow start to the game, but will be consistent in the end. Next Pokemon we have is the Ho-oh with the Citrus Berry, Terra Grass for the defensive type, and Regenerator for its ability with Sacred Fire, Brave Bird, Tailwind, and Protect. Overall, I think Ho-oh is a very underrated restricted Pokemon. It has a lot of potential, especially because it is a great Pokemon to wall Zamazenta and Zacian, which are two Pokemon that do become more popular with Regulation I, and Ho-oh is fantastic against Calc Shadow Rider because of its massive special defense and HP bulk. So it is able to tank attacks extremely well and then heal back with Regenerator with the ability, same as Amoonguss, can switch pivot, which is incredible, but also has access to recovery. This one is not utilizing it because we want speed control to help support the Terapagos to get those knockouts, because Terapagos isn't exactly the fastest Pokemon out there. So this one opting for Tailwind, and again, you have a lot of recovery with the Regenerator plus grassy terrain on the Rillaboom, so it's not necessary to have the recover, as you're more likely just waiting for the opportunity to strike with Terapagos. The EV spread overall is just generally bulky. You have a lot of HP and defense investment because Ho-oh doesn't have the best physical defense in the world, even though its stats are pretty decent. So if you invest into it, it is able to make up the difference and be able to tank those physical attacks, especially the body press from the Zamazenta. You're running some attack investment with Inanimate Nature because that's its second highest stat point, and you don't really need to invest in the special defense because really base 154 special defense is absolutely absurd with a 106 HP stat. So investing a bit into attack so you can still do good amounts of damage with Sacred Fire and Brave Bird, and then a little bit remaining into speed to be able to speed creep those Pokemon that are able to outspeed Shadow Rider Calyx under a Tailwind, because that's usually a 112 speed stat required. So you have a little bit to speed creep those Pokemon, as well as speed creep anything that outspeeds the Calyx Shadow Rider after the Tailwind is set up. Next Pokemon we have is the Dark Urshifu with the Focus Sash, Unseen Fist for the ability, with Terra Ghost as a defensive typing with Wicked Blow, Close Combat, Sucker Punch, and Detect. Overall, a pretty standard staple, with Dark Urshifu might be interesting in Regulation I, but with Wicked Blow it's able to do so much damage across the board, and with the Terra Ghost defensive typing, because you're being able to be immune to the fighting type attacks out there like the Zamazenta, but also the fake outs from Rillaboom and Incineroar, so your Focus Sash is preserved and can go for the strong attack anyway. Overall, you are pretty much just going a standard max attack, max speed variant, and just trying to hit hard and trying to hit fast. You have the Focus Sash, so you're able to take one hit. And yes, with the help of the T-Specs, especially from the Toxapex and the ways you can get chip damage on this team, you overall just want to go for really strong Wicked Blows or close combats that might miss the knockout initially, because you can invest to survive these moves. But with the T-Spike chip and everything else, then Urshifu can get those KOs. Next Pokemon we have is the Assault Vest Rillaboom with the Grassy Surge ability with Terra Fire as a defensive typing with Grassy Glide, Wood Hammer, High Horsepower, and Fake Out. I believe the recreation of this team actually had U-turn over the High Horsepower, which I actually agree with because you're able to go for U-turn and keep the momentum, and you could also like Regenerator spam and go for U-turn, and there's like so many ways you could pivot around utilizing U-turn. However, the original team that did win the tournament did have High Horsepower, and I imagine it's just being able to chip Pokemon like Miraidon and Senroar for more damage, again to help put in range of the Terapagos' Earth Power or the Terra Starstorms. So the Rillaboom we're going to be trying out today does contain the High Horsepower like it originally did. So it's a pretty standard Rillaboom. Otherwise, you have Wood Hammer, Grassy Glide, strong grass type coverage, the Grassy Surge of course powering up the grass type moves thanks to summoning the grassy terrain, but also the recovery. That's very nice for the Terapagos and Terra Shell, of course. Very great synergy. Can support Ho-oh if it does decide to go for Terastallization, and of course Toxapex doesn't mind the healing either. So across the board, really great synergy with the grassy terrain, and you're running a very bulky Rillaboom in general. Max HP, not too much attack because again you have the T-spikes to be able to chip away your opponent, and really Rillaboom's just supposed to get chip damage or clean up weakened foes with the Grassy Glide because again you are trying to focus the KOs mainly on your other attackers such as Terapagos, the Ho-oh, and Urshifu. You still want a lot of special defense to be able to take Astral Barrages, attacks from Miraidons in general, so that is why you have a good amount of special defense. And then you have a bit of speed. This is able to outspeed your Ho-oh by 1 point, which can be nice for double up specifically. And yes, it is just again able to outspeed Shadow Rider, Calyrex, and some speed creeps with the tailwind numbers. The unique star of the team Toxapex with the Mental Herb for the item, Regenerator for the ability, and the Terra Poison defensive typing, which is interesting because this Pokemon is already a poison type, but we have Infestation, Toxic Spikes, Wide Guard, and Baneful Bunkers. So Toxapex, of course, is a very interesting Pokemon. If you know singles, you probably know this Pokemon, but in doubles, we don't really see it too much because it doesn't have really great attack stats, and Stall isn't really as effective in VGC as it is in a 6v6 format where there's more Pokemon and more turns in general. However, Toxapex does add some unique roles with Regulation I and the restricted format. So Mental Herb is going to be your item choice because of the fact you have leftovers on Terapagos already, and you do have the other items like Citrus Berry on Ho-oh. I guess you could run Black Sludge since you actually do have the Terra Poison defensive typing, so I'm kind of curious if that was an initial part of the build where it had Black Sludge initially over the Mental Herb, but then ended up running into more Taunt and then switched to Mental Herb, which is what I think is probably most likely the scenario. But Terra Poison, I guess if you do want to get rid of your water type and get rid of those electric type weaknesses and still have the poison typing in general, that is probably the next best reason why. I can't really say for certain. But Regenerator for its ability with the ability to recover 1/3 of your HP every time you switch out, and when you have 2 Regenerators on the field with Ho-oh and Toxapex, yeah, it can definitely stall out. It's not as effective as it is in singles, but of course Regenerator we have seen is an incredible ability on Amoonguss, and this team can really utilize it with the Toxapex being able to go for Toxic Spikes and stall out with the poison, and it is pretty strong. Wide Guard is such a good reason why Toxapex is more viable in this kind of regulation because of the dual restricted. Wide Guard is very huge against really strong spread moves like Astral Barrage, Glacial Lance, etc. And you do have Infestation, which is actually a very cool move which can trap your opponent and do constant chip damage across the board. So the Infestation, the toxic damage can add up over time. And Baneful Bunker, because it's basically protect, but you do have the ability to poison your opponent if they go for contact moves. So a lot of ways you can stall out here. Toxapex, again, really used for its bulk in general, max HP, because you don't have a great HP stat, but your defense stats are incredible. Going with max defense with a bold nature and 4 special defense. It's just an absolutely absurd tank, but it is a Pokemon that is vulnerable to stuff like the Calyrex Shadow Rider normally, but you got 2 restricteds that are generally pretty good into Shadow Rider alongside with the Dark Urshifu and the Flutter Mane, so it is more manageable there, while Toxapex is great into Pokemon like the Zamazenta. The T-Spikes just add up for Terapagos, as I mentioned before, as well as the Ho-oh, and can really trap in Pokemon, make them put into unfavorable positions because of the Infestation. It is a really unique threat on this team. Final Pokemon we have is going to be the Flutter Mane with the Booster Energy, Photosynthesis for its ability to get a speed booster, and Terra Normal as the defensive typing to help out against the Astral Barrages from Calyrex Shadow Rider. Overall, this Flutter Mane is meant for a form of speed control because this team doesn't have the best initial speed forms. You only have Tailwind on the Ho-Oh, and overall all your Pokemon are below base 100 speed, so having a Pokemon that actually can provide more speed coverage for the team is very nice. You have the Moonblast for strong fairy coverage. You have Icy Wind for speed coverage again to help out with the Terapagos and the Ho-Oh outspeed, as well as Urshifu. Thunder Wave, of course, as a secondary mode, which can be helpful because even after an Icy Wind, Terapagos and Ho-Oh might still be missing the factors in order to outspeed your opponent, and then Protect to keep itself around. The EV spread is 132 Timid. With that much speed, you are able to have the ability to outspeed most of the base 135s if they go in neutral nature. Pokemon like Miraidon, Koraidon, etc. Unit are +1 from like a Flame Charge or some other factors, so that is very helpful. You also outspeed the Roaring Moon, which is helpful too because you are able to threaten the Roaring Moon with the Moonblast, but otherwise you are pretty much just invested into as much HP and defense as possible. Really, this Flutter Mane is more of a support speed control mon. It's not really too much. It can chip away with Moonblast, of course, but the main goal is to set up the Icy Wind and Thunder Waves for your Terapagos, Ho-Oh, and Urshifu. So how to use the team overall, I think it's a lot about your defensive positions as well as getting things into range of Terapagos attacks, and the way you are able to utilize that is usually through the Toxapex. You do have the T-Spike that you're able to set up the infestation that can help trap opponents but also chip them away for Terapagos to set up. Otherwise, you have a lot of things with the Regenerator core being able to tank damage because you do have a lot of bulky Pokemon like the Rillaboom, Ho-Oh, Terapagos, and Toxapex are all bulky Pokemon that can constantly switch and get back to health on Ho-Oh and Toxapex, which is really nice. And then once you get those Pokemon chipped and set up with a nice position, usually with the Tailwind Ho-Oh, you're able to go for really strong damage with the Urshifu and the Terapagos against weakened foes and pick up the knockout using your strong hits. Across the board, you pretty much are going to be utilizing some really strong options with the Terapagos, usually probably in the back since it's not really a setup mon with Calm Mind, so you will probably have in the back. You'll probably lead something like Ho-Oh, Rillaboom, Urshifu, Toxapex, maybe Flutter Mane if you want speed advantage because of Thunder Waves that you could spread, and then Terapagos is able to outspeed, which is nice. But otherwise, you probably just set up the Toxic Spikes or go for infestation setups, as well as just chip away the board with Ho-Oh or maybe a strong position with Rillaboom plus Urshifu immediately. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. And while you're down there, let me know what you think about Ho-Oh in the comments down below, because this is one of my favorite Pokemon, of course, from the anime. But in general, like, I think Ho-Oh is a really cool design Pokemon and has a lot of legacy history into the game. So I had a lot of fun using it in 2016. I think it's a great Pokemon with its interesting stat distribution. So let me know what you think about it down below, because I think it actually has some pretty good tools in this format. Groudon, Terapagos, Incineroar, Rillaboom, Flutter Mane, and the Grimmsnarl. I think this match is really going to depend on if the Groudon has a Rock Move, because otherwise Ho is fantastic in this matchup, and I mean really fantastic here. The fact that it's pretty much able to wall a Swords Dance Groudon or a bulk up Groudon for the most case is really good. So I actually like the Toxapex here too, because lead wise I like the T-Spike against this more passive team of screens. I will be bringing Toxapex and I will be bringing Ho-Oh for sure. Back Pokemon, I'm assuming I'm bringing the Terapagos. I don't think I need Flutter Mane in this matchup. Thunder Wave doesn't really do much. Urshifu, Wicked Blow, it also helps out against the opposing Terapagos, but my own Rillaboom could be really helpful here. Dark Urshifu is kind of nice to help get rid of Incineroar quickly, which is really tempting too. Oh man, I feel like I want to pivot though. If I'm leaning Toxapex Rillaboom, I would want pivots. However, I think you know what? Let's just try Urshifu out with the Terapagos, because the problem with Urshifu is actually maybe I should have brought Urshifu because it could maybe force the Groudon on a Terra. But then again, I don't really think so, because the Groudon under Reflect doesn't really have to Terra in front of Rillaboom, because it will just be able to tank the attack with the max or its massive physical defense. So I don't think that's really necessary. We're gonna see Grimmsnarl Terapagos lead. Okay. Versus the Ho-Oh and the Terapagos, which is fine. I do want to set up the T-Spike immediately with my Toxapex. So I am going to go for T-Spike. The question is, what am I doing with Ho-oh? I think I'd probably just be launching a Sacred Fire immediately into the Toxapex, because if we do get the burn on Toxapex, that, or not Toxapex, we go for the Sacred Fire into the Terapagos, because if we do get the burn onto Terapagos, that means Terra Shell won't be a factor that I have to deal with for the rest of the game, which is actually pretty nice. So go for the Sacred Fire, as we do see a Reflect here, which is not too surprising. The Terra Shell is going to activate and make it resistant. Do we get the Sacred Fire burn? 50% chance. No. I'm kind of curious also if this is Covert Cloak, because if it's Covert Cloak, that could actually be annoying, but we'll see. We are going to see the item after this turn if it's leftovers or not, but T-Spike goes up, which is massive. Okay. That is pretty nice. It is leftovers. Okay. So I think I want to just go for Infestation plus the Sacred Fire here. I don't know. They could commit Terra, but if they want to go for Terra for like an Earth Power, well, I don't know if you run Earth Power on the Terapagos on these teams, because you have Groudon. But we do see the Terrassalization come out immediately. So this is Terapagos. Kind of curious. Do you have Star Storm Earth Power? We'll see. I'm all right with that though. I could have probably seen Meteor Beam turn one into Ho-oh, but I kind of doubt it. Thunder Wave going to come out into Ho-oh, which is fine. Okay. We will get paralyzed. Oh, it is Earth Power. Okay, that's probably knocking out my Toxapex, because my Toxapex, unfortunately, is max physical. Oh, wow. That is nice. Okay. And we get the burn on the second try, which is nice, because the Infestation is actually going to add up the damage. Okay, that's pretty good, because we get to build up some massive damage into Terapagos, which is pretty solid here. All right. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Yeah, because that Infestation is going to build up. Yeah, now as you can see, that Terapagos is decently low already. We're going to go for a Wide Guard, because I think it would Star Storm. Or I don't think you Earth Power. I think you always Star Storm here. I'm just gonna Brave Bird the Terapagos and get damage. If they ever switch Grim, they're always getting poisoned, so that's fine by me. I also don't know what Grim's gonna do here. Underwave the Terapagos in case of a switch as well, I guess. That's fair. I think this is gonna be Star Storm or maybe another Calm Mind. Yeah, perfect. Because they could have got the knockout into Terapagos and Ho-oh, and if Terapagos went for Protect, they at least get the damage in a Ho-oh, but not falling for that. And we're not getting paralyzed, so Brave Bird does come out in Terapagos, and as you can see, we're just building up some massive damage into this Terapagos and putting in range of Wicked Blow for my Urshifu, which is really good here. So their Terapagos is not going to be that much of a threat, and that was their Terrassalization, which is also really good. Nice. So I think I'm willing to risk Terapagos here. Oops, no, I don't want to forfeit here. That would be bad. I think the play is to go my own Terapagos here. Or why? Well, I don't want to Wide Guard again. I think they're going to Earth Power here into Terapagos. I don't know what the Grim's doing. Maybe Foul Play if they have it into Ho-oh, which is fair. I'm going to go for Brave Bird into the Terapagos and switch out Toxapex, because Toxapex still is actually doing some pretty decent damage across the board. Because having a pivot, I think, is just nice in the end game as a sack if I need to reset the position. So I'm going to bring out my Terapagos, which is in a good spot here. Light Screen going to go up, which is perfect. No Foul Play. So this is Earth Power? Oh, they went for Starstorm again. I mean, that's okay, because Ho-oh does have a Regenerator. We have the double regen core, plus we have our Terra Shell, so we're not taking too much damage from Terapagos. We did lose our Infestation into the Terapagos, but yeah, I think we're fine. And Ho-oh is just champing along right here, getting that Brave Bird into the Terapagos. I'm kind of surprised they went for the what's it called? I'm surprised they went for the Starstorm, because if I Wide Guard again, I mean, the Terapagos just went down. Like, I thought they would at least want one KO here, but yeah, and I couldn't go for, unless I wanted to go for a double protect, which I definitely could have, but I don't think it was the play. I think I'm just going to protect Terapagos, and I'm just going to go for a Brave Bird once again into the Terapagos. Let's see. It could be Thunderwave Starstorm, which I'm thinking here is most likely. Yep. Thunderwave. And if they Starstorm, that's okay. Yep. Okay. So, I mean, Ho, you've been trooping, but can you get this final one here? Because getting this final one would be massive. A Starstorm, we eat it up because Ho-oh's special defense is just absolutely absurd. Eat the citrus berry on the Ho-oh and recover some HP. And we get that Terapagos knockout. Oh my goodness, Ho-oh is actually incredible, man. It is actually incredible. We get the knockout into the Terapagos. Fantastic here. Now the question is, do I want to risk the paralysis on my Terapagos, on my own Terapagos or not? We got rid of their Terra, and now we can actually go for Terra and not have to worry about Starstorms affecting us throughout the game, which is really nice. Let's see who they bring out next, because it's getting poisoned. They don't have a switch into the T-Spike, as we're going to see the Groudon. Yep. Groudon comes in, it's getting poisoned here, which is beautiful. I don't know if they actually have a rock move or not. I only brought Urshifu. I mean, it's helpful against Instant, I suppose, but with the T-Spike on the Instant, I think I'm okay. I think I'm going to go Urshifu for the Terapagos in case of Thunderwave, and I'm going to get my Regenerator of Ho-oh. I could see this. I don't know if you would go for Thunderwave Precipice Blade specifically, but I mean, I think that's okay. Even if they do go for that, I really do think it's okay. And if it's like Key Crash or something, Urshifu shouldn't take too much damage, so that also works. I just want to make sure that my Terapagos, if it can avoid getting paralyzed, I think it's nice. But more importantly, just get this Regenerator core from the Ho-oh plus the Toxapex that's going to stack. Thunderwave doesn't affect my Dark type or Shifu because Prankster moves don't work. Swords Dance going to come out, which is very fair. Okay. But yeah, this is a very nice position. Now I think I just detect my Urshifu and I actually switch out the Toxapex into Ho-oh. I could go for Baneful Bunker, but the problem with going for Baneful Bunker in this position is if I go for Baneful Bunker and get paralyzed, that's one less pivot I have. So I don't think they actually have, again, if it's Swords Dance Groudon, I highly doubt they have a rock move. So I think Ho is just safe to pivot around. Dragon Claw. Okay. It's Spirit Break. Ooh, okay, that's doing damage to Urshifu, but if they're spreading the attacks, that's fine. Okay, that is actually a little bit scary, that Spirit Break. Are you gonna Precipice Blades here? That's the question. So I'm not out of the woods yet, unfortunately. I think Wicked Blow is always correct into the Groudon. And I think we're going to go back into Toxapex. I guess like I could have also spammed Wide Guard with my Toxapex when it was out. But do I want, again, risking the paralysis I felt like was pretty bad and wasn't expecting Dragon Claw out of anything. Wicked Blow still does good damage to the Groudon regardless. They actually keep going for Dragon Claw to try and finish off the Ho-oh because they know Ho-oh is a threat. But amazingly, that is not going to work out for my opponent as Urshifu will be brought down to the Focus Sash. But at this point, unless the Grimmsnarl... No, we saw the moveset Grimmsnarl already. Spirit Break, Thunder Wave, and Dual Screens. We actually confirmed that the Grimmsnarl doesn't have like Sucker Punch or something. So I can always just Wicked Blow to Groudon. I outspeed. And Toxapex can just go for like whatever it wants to. I think I'm just going to go for an Infestation, I guess, into the Grimmsnarl. Or maybe I could have... Actually, I should have retreated a Ho-oh. I should have retreated a Ho-oh. We're going to see the Groudon retreat, but the thing is that lost its boost, so that's fine. They go in Incineroar, that's okay. Because Incineroar gets toxic too. So at this point, I'm pretty sure Terapagos will win the end game. Ho-oh should, especially if the instant only has knockoff as the attack. Wicked Blow. Are you Rocky Helmet? Nope. Spirit Break going to come out. They go to knock on Urshifu, but Urshifu has done the job I needed it to, which has been just breaking through the Groudon. Infestation going to come out in the Grimmsnarl, so the Grimmsnarl can't retreat in the later parts of the game. And yeah, I have multiple ways here to handle this situation. I build up this damage into the Grimmsnarl, and now... I'm trying to figure out what I do here. Is it Terapagos? I think it's Terapagos and get leftovers. Yeah, I think it's just go for... I don't think a crit knockoff Chaos Toxapex, by the way, so I'm just going to go for a Protect and Baneful Bunker. I'm like pretty sure this is max defense Toxapex. I know we have an item attached, but I just can't see crit instant knockoff KO and Toxapex at this range. So I'm just going to go for my double protect here and build up that poison damage, and we should secure this end game as they go for Thunder Wave into the Terapagos. I just want the leftovers recovery because getting closer to Terra Shell just makes it much easier. They go for Snarl. Okay. So Snarl is an interesting move on Incineroar. I wonder if it's Assault Vest, but even if it's Assault Vest, it doesn't change too much here. Okay. Sunlight fades. Get more leftovers. So now they can't go for like Flare Blitz crit. I could attempt to sub, but there's not really a point. We are building up damage on the Incineroar with the poison and the infestation on the Grimmsnarl. Citrus Berry on the Incineroar, so it's not Assault Vest. Okay. I mean, I am going to go for infestation into the Incineroar now. As the Grimmsnarl. Like, I don't like bugs in real life, so that infestation noise is always something. We're going to go for infestation into the Incineroar. I don't think we need to wide guard against Snarl. It doesn't really do much. Grimmsnarl can't touch the Ho-oh. I really doubt the Incineroar can really touch the Ho-oh either. So we go into Ho-oh. If they decide to switch in Incineroar for Groudon through a parting shot or something, they're just going to get massively screwed over anyway. So this works out. Yeah, they go for knockoff here. Yeah, as I said, that's a crit knockoff and a ding KO, as I said before. Beautiful. We do get paralyzed, which is fine. Yeah, like, I don't think this changes that much here. Light screen wears off for them. Did they still reflect? No, they actually don't have reflect. So I guess I'll just go for a Sacred Fire into the Grimmsnarl. And you know what? I'll just play this more defensive. I'm going to go to Terapagos. If they go for Thunder Wave, that means they don't get Reflect Up. And if they don't get Reflect Up, I think that's kind of massive for just taking the knockout on Grim. And then I think it's just easy stalling out the final remainder parts of the game. They go for knockoff and a Ho-oh, but we already ate our Citrus Berry. Spirit Break going to go on Terapagos, but that's fine. It's better than Thunder Wave anyway. I think we would have lived that with Terapagos, but Sacred Fire going to come out. I thought that Braver would have picked up the KO, but we get the burn too. And yeah, all their Pokemon are status. All their Pokemon are status. So I guess I'm just going to protect and just keep switching out regen, because that's how this team goes. We are just going to rotate those statuses. And if you switch out, you're taking damage regardless. So we're going out in the Toxapex and we're going to protect. Call this... this could be singles hazard stalling at this point, but yeah. I think maybe I could have subbed up with Terapagos here as well, because sub would have actually been pretty fair here, because protect on Terapagos is just so obvious. It's so obvious, but I don't think they can break through Ho-oh at all. Like, I really don't think they can break through Ho-oh and Toxapex with these combinations. So we'll protect here. They go for Reflect, but it doesn't really matter at this point. The Incineroar is going to go for knockoff and the Toxapex, and it's just not doing any damage. I'm just going to keep cycling the Toxapex and Ho-oh to get some recovery. And I guess I'm just going to substitute with my Terapagos here. Yeah, because they can't really do that much damage to Terapagos either, I'd say. Grimmsnarl looks like it only has one turn, so it goes down to the burn. And then if Terapagos has a substitute up, it's easier to stall out the Groudon. So we'll go for a substitute here. Retreat our Toxapex, keep cycling these regenerators, and eventually the Groudon's just going to go down to the poison. So yeah, really nice, because Toxic or T-Specs in general is just so good against these balance course. And yeah, they don't go for the Thunder Wave, so I guess substitute up. They probably read me to go in a Ho-oh again, because I've been doing a Ho-oh this entire time for that slot. But yeah, this ends up working out really well. And now I was able to break my substitute, which is actually kind of impressive there, as we're going to see Spirit Break into the Ho-oh. But as I said before, Ho-oh is just really good at being able to take that. And yeah, like they couldn't really go hard into Groudon because they take a turn of poison. I think the Groudon will go down to, I think after it comes in, it's 3 turns total that I can survive. So Grimmsnarl goes down to the burn. Incineroar on a really, really short timer. And yeah, I just don't think that, unless the Groudon has Rock Move, but I think we would have seen the Rock Move. Oh, it's, yeah, I think it's 3 turns. Might be 2. It's close, but I'll just go for Brave Bird and we'll go for Protect. I guess I could have I could have went for Protect with Ho-oh, but the thing is Ho-oh isn't threatened by a knockout here. I don't think Dragon Claw crit and a knockoff crit would knock out the Ho-oh at this range. So I can't even see that. So yeah, I just can't really see how they win here. Terapagos gonna Protect. Then I could switch out into Toxapex and then Protect again to guarantee. They go for Precipice Blades to cover for Ho-oh switching out into Toxapex like I've been doing for most of the game. But it's just not going to work this time as I am seeing a knockoff into the Ho-oh. But yeah, it's just not doing enough. Maybe, well, actually, no, I still don't think knockoff crit into Dragon Claw crit was going to knock out my Ho-oh, which was unironically the best, one of the better moves they could have here because Fire Move was not doing anything to Ho-oh. Like, what was it? Heat Crash. It's not doing anything. Ho-oh is pretty heavy, and also it is able to just resist it. So yeah, they just had nothing here for Ho-oh, and once I got my T-Spike up, I was in a really good spot. So now just go for, I guess, go for Terra Star Storm, switch out into my Toxapex for more HP. Game is over. And yeah, we got pretty lucky, I'd say, just because Ho-oh didn't get paralyzed for like the early parts of getting rid of Terapagos, which was massive. Because also like Toxapex surviving that +1 Terra boosted Earth Power is kind of crazy to me, because this has no special defense. I know it has good special defense investment or good special defense baseline, but with no investment, I thought we were going down. That's just crazy to me that Terapagos is just able to take that extremely well. Calyx, Shadow Rider, Whimsicott, Incineroar, Amoonguss, the Urshifu, and Zacian. All right, Ho-oh's really good against most of this team. It's just mainly the Urshifu, of course. So that's going to be a bit concerning. Do I bring my own Urshifu is the question. I think probably not. It's going to Shadow Rider, but it's pretty bad in everything else. I definitely bring Ho-oh though. Ho-oh is fantastic. I think Ho-oh Rillaboom's really good. Toxic Spikes look pretty decent here as well. Although I don't know if I could beat Zacian. I think it depends on the Zacian set, but it's definitely a scary one. I do want to bring Terapagos though. What would I see for my opponent? I don't think you're bringing the Whimsicott. I don't think it does as much. I would say you bring Shadow Rider. I think you bring Amoonguss. I think you bring Urshifu, and I think you bring Zacian. Although I could see Incineroar being argued, and I think Incineroar can definitely put in work too against my team. If they don't bring Incineroar, it makes it probably easier for my Rillaboom to stick around. I'm just going to lead Ho-oh plus the Rillaboom though. I think it's pretty effective against my opponent's team in general. Bring the Toxapex in the back, and I'm going to bring Terapagos. Let's see. I don't know what the full game plan here is, because I think it's get Tailwind up and be able to dish out a lot of damage. It really just depends on like what their partners are. Like Ho-oh's good into Zacian. Of course, just don't have random Terra Water, Terra Blast, or some shenanigan like that. But we'll see. Whimsicott or Shifu. Okay. As I lead Ho-oh plus Rillaboom. So this is a pretty decent lead for me, but the problem... Well, they actually brought Whimsicott, which I'm very surprised by. But this works out. I think I'm just going to go into Toxapex here. And I'm just going to go for a Woodhammer into the Urshifu. Yeah. OBS, please. Okay. I don't know what's been wrong with my computer, as I said. I really hope it doesn't affect that much. But yeah, we are going to go to Toxapex. This covers like Terra Ghost or Cobra Cloak or some random shenanigan on Urshifu. They go for Light Screen, even though they don't need it in this position, so that's fine by me. They go for Surging Strikes. Okay. I mean, I'll take it for sure. I'll gladly take it. And we get the Woodhammer off. Is this Focus Sash? Because if it's not Focus Sash, we're in a really good spot. So here comes a Woodhammer. It's not Focus Sash. Wow, they just gave me the Urshifu. So I don't have to Terra my Ho-oh anymore. I was willing to Terra my Ho-oh in this matchup. I know I have Terapagos, but I was willing to Terra my Ho-oh if it really came down to it. But I don't have to, which is nice. Okay. I'm kind of curious on who comes out here. Probably Shadow Rider. But if it's Shadow Rider, I'm just going to go out into Terapagos, I think. Because Terapagos will have a good time against this. Actually, maybe I just double switch. Yeah, I probably just double switch, actually. We're going to see the Calyx come in. I don't see why I would waste turns by protecting the Toxapex. Yeah, I would just double switch here. So we're going to go Ho-oh and we're going to go the Terapagos here. Please cooperate with me, OBS. I apologize, but I have no idea why this has been happening. It's been ever since the new Windows update. It has been ever since the new Windows update. Like some days it'll be fine. Some days it will just be like this. I have no idea why. But we're going to go Terapagos. I'm going to have to restart my computer again after, aren't I? All right, we bring out the Terapagos. We're bringing this slot in case they go for Psychic into the Toxapex slot because I don't want to take a Psychic with my Terapagos and lose the Terra Shell immediately. We're going to bring out the Ho-oh. They do go for Psychic, which is fair. It actually does a lot. Special defense drop is not great. Okay, it's Life Orb though. Okay, that makes sense. And they go for Moonblast, but we do have our Terra Shell, so it is going to break our Terra Shell. Let's see if Leftovers of Grassy Terrain gets it. I don't think so. Oh, no, we do. Okay. No special attack drop is beautiful. So is this Life Orb nasty plot is a good question. I don't really need Rillaboom too much anymore, so I think I'm okay with getting in Rillaboom and going for a Earth Power into the Calyrex. Yeah, because I want to keep the Terra Shell. I don't have Calm Mind, which is a bit unfortunate here because Calm Mind would actually be really good. I can't really click Substitute in front of a Whimsicott, so I'm just going to go for Earth Power. We're going to see the Whimsicott retreat here. This might be into the Zacian. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So it's just about getting Ho-oh in a good spot. That's basically what I'm fighting for this game. Astral Barrage comes out, but we don't mind that. Yep. And we do get more chip damage into the Calyx. It is through Light Screen, but that is still damage. Like any damage on Calyx might help put in range of Brave Bird. Special defense drop is actually really helpful too. So we can fake out the Zacian, or we could play aggressive here. Do I hate the idea of going out into Toxapex? I'm just curious on how much Behemoth Blade does into an attack from Zacian. If I get rid of the Calyx, I'm in a really good spot. The question is, can I? I think I want to Grassy Glide the Calyx. And I'm going to Earth Power it too, actually. I'll risk I'm going for Psychic Behemoth Blade, I think. Yeah, because they actually go for Protect here. Massive. That's massive. Because I get this Earth Power plus Grassy Glide, and they probably take a hit of Recoil too, which means they should be going down with Calyx this turn. Nice. They didn't want to risk Fake Out into like Earth Power into the Zacian, which is massive. So Astral Barrage is going to come out and knock on my Rillaboom. But if we do get the knockout into the Calyx, I think it's just good game because I don't think they could beat Toxapex or Ho-oh at this point. Well, maybe. They do have Sword Stance, I suppose, but I just don't think that's enough. Yeah, I do KO the Calyx. Beautiful. So I get a really good read here. Knock out the Calyx. And yeah, that should be a very good spot for a win. As I'm going to go out into... Did they Terra yet? No, they haven't, right? I guess I just go into Ho-oh and throw off Sacred Fires so they can't... Yeah. I think I just draw off Sacred Fires. Do I go for a... I think, yeah, I just Sacred Fire. The question is, what am I doing with Terapagos? Am I going for Star Storm here? Is it worth going for Star Storm? Do I take the... I think it's okay too. Yeah, I think I'm going to Star Storm here because it covers them terrestrializing and I'd get a huge amount of damage. Like, sure, Behemoth Blade's going to do a lot. It shouldn't knock out the Terapagos. I'm trying to figure out, okay, if they crit me. I have to get really lucky here, I think, with Ho-oh to lose the game. I'd have to miss Sacred Fire a bunch of times. And it looks like no terrestrialization's coming out. We also get rid of any healing that the Zacian has access to, which is nice. Let's see. Get rid of the grassy terrain. Sacred Sword, that's fine. Yeah, it does a lot, but not enough. They Moonblast double up, but it doesn't KO. Yep. Starstorm active, and if we hit Sacred Fire, we should just win. So let's see if we are able to land Sacred Fire. Also, if it's Sacred Sword, that means they don't have Sword Stance, which means I don't think they can beat Ho-oh at all. Yep, we are able to knock out the Zacian, so beautiful. Beautiful. Special defense drop was a bit lucky there, but I think I did make a really good read on the capitalization. And again, I think it was just really hard for them to knock out Ho-oh. Also, they did get a special defense drop against me, so I think it's very fair. I think it's very fair. We go for Brave Bird and Terapagos. You could just stay in and click Starstorm because it doesn't matter. Toxapex and Ho-oh both win the game anyway. There's nothing they can do. So excellent, excellent. Just really able to, again, that's why I'm surprised they brought Whimsicott, because I thought Whimsicott didn't really add too much. Like, they got a light screen up, but I don't even think the light screen was like that valuable against my team in general. I felt like they needed like instant. The fact that they just let the Urshifu go down immediately was just massive, because they were so focused on trying to get rid of Ho-oh turn one, where I just decided, hey, I'm going to switch out. I really wonder if it was Covert Cloak, because if it was Covert Cloak, that would have been really funny, because this game could have got a completely different way if it was Covert Cloak, if I clicked Fake Out and just let Ho-oh stay in. Granted, I don't know if Ho-oh goes down to Surging Strikes if it's Covert Cloak, but I would have taken a lot of damage, which would have been pretty bad, because I need to Regenerator switch for healing. All right, I restarted my computer, and if OBS still gives me issues, because it's generally my computer, it's actually not OBS, it's actually like my computer, because it's not been doing so hot recently. But we have Calyx Shadow Rider, the Zamazenta, Raging Bolt, Urshifu, Dragonite, and Galarian Weezing. I feel like we've seen this before, but no Shein Pow is kind of interesting on this build. Okay. So Ho-oh is really good against Calyx Shadow Rider, plus Zamazenta is just able to be resisting the body presses, really good special defense to tank the Shadow Rider. So I do like the Ho-oh. Problem is, I don't exactly like Urshifu or Dragonite. Those Pokemon can actually do some massive damage, so I gotta watch out for that. Do I want to bring Dark Urshifu? I don't think so. I do want my abilities. I think I actually have to lead Terapagos plus Ho-oh. Yeah, I think Terapagos Ho-oh. It's weird leading both my restrictions here, but I think it works out. I have Rillaboom and the Toxapex back. I guess actually this might not be the best lead. I guess it just depends. I want to figure out if, well, I think Urshifu leads, but the problem is I don't know if they lead Weezing or not, because if they lead Weezing, it kind of becomes strange where Terra Shell's not active. This is going to be this is just such a strange matchup, but we're going to see. Oh, we did see the double lead here. Okay. I don't think they're going to U-turn at least. I think they go for either 30 strikes or close combat immediately. The problem is, do they go for a T-Spike with the Weezing? But I do have my own, I do have Toxapex at least that could negate it. But yeah, abilities are not in effect with Weezing out on the field. So I can go out into Rillaboom on the Ho-oh slot, and I can go out into Toxapex into the Terapagos slot. So if they go for close combat, we're good. If they go for the any other move, we're good. But yeah, I kind of wish I instead let Rillaboom like Terapagos. Potentially, I think that would have worked out better. But let's see. We bring out the Ho-oh for the Rillaboom coming in. So we reveal all 4 Pokemon, but it's fine. They go for Surging Strikes, which is the best case for me. Okay, awesome. I wish I had U-turn, because I would definitely U-turn here. I assume it's probably Scarf on the Urshifu. They go for the Toxic Spike. Okay. So we're going to set up our own T-Spike against them, which should help. But yes, this is going to be a bit difficult. I'm going to go for high horsepower into the Galarian Weezing, and I think I'm going to go for a T-Spike here into the team. Yes. They are going to retreat to Urshifu. I imagine it's probably Scarf on this team, which would make the most sense to me. out comes the Zamazenta. I'm not surprised about that, but that's beautiful, because I am able to get a high horsepower off into Wheezing for some really good damage. As you see, the benefit of running high horsepower. We do take Rocky Helmet damage though. And oh, they have Sludge Bomb. It used to be Dazzling Gleam here. Ooh, no poison, thankfully, as we do get the T-Spike up. Okay, that's not like too bad. That's not too bad. Okay. Gonna be a bit complicated, but I think if we trap in the Zamazenta, we're not in a terrible spot. I do like the idea of going for Infestation into the Zamazenta and switching on a Ho-oh, because Ho-oh will be able to tank the attacks pretty well. I imagine Body Press and a Ho-oh, maybe a double up with Sludge Bomb, but we'll see. The Wheezing actually protects, which is massive for me. Okay, so I do get an Infestation off into the Zamazenta as Body Press. Yeah, we're able to eat that with ease. They also don't have a defense boost because the abilities are shut off. So we do get the Infestation off into the Zamazenta, and look at this beautiful chip damage that's going to be racked up into Zamazenta. Now we can also do the same thing to the Wheezing. We're going to go for Sacred Fire into the Zamazenta, and we're going to go for Infestation into Wheezing and trap whatever switches in for the Wheezing slot. Abilities are going to be active now, so I have Regenerator active, which is nice, and both Pokemon are going to be trapped here. So we'll get a defense boost from the Zamazenta as Urshifu comes in, which is fine because I do have that Toxic Spikes and the Infestation adding up, which is cool. Beautiful. As they protect. Okay, so I could have went for like an aggressive Braybird play. I did debate about it, but I don't think it was ever really worth it here, as I do go for a Sacred Fire into the Zamazenta as well as the Infestation into the Urshifu. So now the Urshifu's locked in. Okay, both of these Pokemon I do have to get rid of. If I get rid of both of these Pokemon, I'm in a really good shape with my... I'm in really good shape with my... Terapagos. Do I want to terrestrialize is the question. Probably not. At least, well, I do have Citrus Berry for the Surging Strikes. I don't know if I can live Surging Strikes though into a follow-up here. Into Body Press. At least that not at with the chip damage. I think Rillaboom's always the right play here. And I guess we're going to Infestation the Ursh. Trying to think about this because we have to fight a bit of a weird position. I guess I could probably, you know what? No, I think I probably survive a Body Press combination. I'm just going to go for a Infestation, I guess, into the Zamazenta as well as the Sacred Fire. I don't think they're going to Terra, which is actually really nice because I get the Sacred Fire damage off into the Infestation. Like, sure, I won't be able to terrestrialize the my Terapagos, but I don't think I need it in this game. I think I'd rather terrestrialize a Ho-oh and get through the fighting types. So they do go for Surging Strikes, which Ho-oh is just absolutely going to be able to eat. I don't know about the Body Press, though. The Body Press is going to be close. Like, I maybe should have switched out for regen, but we'll see. It didn't do too much at neutral, so I don't know how much it's doing at +1. Yeah, we do survive. That's massive. Okay, awesome. Able to heal back with the Citrus Berry, which is really good. And we land a Sacred Fire. Awesome. Good damage. Did we get the burn? Nice. Nice. Now the fighting types are trapped in. We get the Infestation off once again. A little bit of chip damage, just a little bit of chip damage, but a massive turn. Okay, awesome. This Infestation's adding up on both of these Pokemon. Well, all the statuses are just adding up onto these Pokemon. Zamazenta looks like it goes down the next turn, even if I switch in Rillaboom for the grassy terrain, and I 100% will do that. Is it worth ever switching out to Toxapex? Probably not at this point. I do want Ho-oh around, so I will go for... I think we go for a second layer, because Infestation damage doesn't matter at this point, I'm pretty sure. What was in the back? It's... oh, it is Wheezing, though. That could be a little bit troublesome. I still think it's best to sack here Does it Wheezing get rid of the T-Spike first? I think it does. So I guess I just go for an infestation and I target Urshifu, I guess. Because Zamazenza should always go down to infestation plus burn, even with Grassy. I'll bring out the Rillaboom, sack it here to Surging Strikes. The body press goes off, but it's like whatever. Alright. They target the Toxapex. Okay. But with the grassy terrain, Toxapex will heal. The problem is Toxapex does not beat the Calyrex, which is kind of a big thing. They body press KO to Rila. Yep. But Rillaboom was good going down. I guess we're going to get poisoned with Ho, which is not great. Maybe I haven't done as much as I wanted. Because I do get the infestation. These are building up still, damage-wise. Yeah, this might get a bit awkward. Although they have to switch in to Wheezing first, right? Because otherwise the Calyrex gets poisoned. Infestation, more racking up the damage. This does KO to Zama, right? Okay, yeah, it does. Perfect. Okay. I think I have a line. I think it's just going to Ho-Oh. Even if we take the poison, it's not the greatest, but it's still manageable. Shadow Rider comes in, which is beautiful because it gets poisoned. Awesome. As we bring in the Ho-Oh. Okay. So I wonder if Shadow Rider can KO my Ho-Oh at this range. Surging Strikes looks close. I think my best play is just to click Tailwind here. It's probably just a Tailwind Baneful Bunker or go for a Brave Bird. Actually, it's probably just to go for Brave Bird. Unless they protect here. If they protect here, it gets a bit awkward. So it's either Tailwind or Brave Bird. But the problem is if they go for the double up in a Ho and a KOs, that's actually kind of annoying. But I do think that Brave Bird is the right play. I get as much damage as I possibly can. And I Baneful Bunker here. The reason I Baneful Bunker is in case they go for Psychic. I guess I could Wide Guard here. I should have Wide Guarded as they Astral. I should have Wide Guarded. Yeah, I should have because Astral comes out. But I think Ho-Oh tanks. Yeah, Ho-Oh tanks. We're fine, actually. They go for Surging, which is cool. Because Ho is able to hang on and get the Brave Bird, which is the important part. Yeah, but I should have been able to avoid that damage, I think, by going for Wide Guard. But I guess it's not like too bad here, as I am going to be able to get a Brave Bird into the Shadow Rider now. Good damage, which is adding up with the poison. And I don't know if Shadow Rider can win this endgame now. Okay. I think we're really close to finishing the puzzle here. Assuming Urshifu goes down here, which it should. Or actually maybe not with the infestation, but it's still trapped, which, yeah, it's still trapped, which is good. Okay. So we bring in Terapagos. I think this is a free Earth Power in the Calyrex. I'm pretty sure Earth Power in the Calyrex is pretty free, or I could Protect. Okay, so Urshifu goes down here no matter what. Yeah, it's still trapped, so it has the Surging Strikes a slot. If it Surging Strikes my Terapagos, it goes down to the poison. I think even after Grassy Terrain, and I get an Earth Power off into Calyrex. Yeah, I think this is fine regardless. I guess we Infestation here doesn't really change much. They go for Astral Barrage. Interesting that they go for Astral Barrage here. Okay. Toxapex eats. Also, wait, hold on. That Urshifu's been going for Surging Strikes, but it has not been... This isn't banded damage, right? I'm not crazy. It didn't look like band damage. And it's not Scarf. Okay, that works out. I was worried about Psychic Surging Strikes coming out, but that is not the case. All right, Terapagos takes a bunch of damage. Could have been bad if they went for Psychic Close Combat, actually. No, because they still go down, I think, to Infestation plus Poisons. And Toxapex should beat the Wheezing in the endgame because I still have my Mental Herb intact. And because I have my mental orb intact, they can't taunt my Toxapex, and they don't do enough damage. They can't poison me, and I just infestation to Wheezing because it's not Covert Cloak on the Wheezing. It was Rocky Helmet, right? So I don't have to worry about it. Yeah. No, I think Toxapex just won. Okay, that was a bit scary. That was scary. I did have to tear the hole in that situation, but it did work out pretty well. Yeah, Urshifu goes down, so I guarantee win here. I mean, I'm pretty sure Toxapex cleaned up, but definitely a bit terrifying. If the Urshifu went for close combat, I mean, it didn't. I mean, yeah, no, the Calyx, like the Urshifu still goes down that turn. The Calyx gets infestationed. I go down that turn, although it heals from grassy terrain. I'd have to check the number, but regardless, I think Toxapex was just able to win. So now I just click. Did they Terra ever? It never Terra'd, right? I guess I just go for Starstorm and Infestation. Not gonna be forfeited. Okay, Toxapex, huge MVP there, as well as Ho-oh. They were definitely some of the biggest troopers here in this matchup. It was actually so scary to deal with the double fighting types because of the pin of Surging Strike's body press was pretty hard to maneuver. I think my lead wasn't that great. I think I should let Rillaboom partner-wise. Like Rillaboom Terapagos instead of a sub would have been incredible, and I think I should have done that, so that's on me. But otherwise was still in a pretty good spot, I think, after I got like all the infestation trapping, which was huge. All right, this is a very interesting build. Kyogre, Indeedee, Amoonguss, Ogerpon Heartflame, the Palkia Origin Form, and Terrakion. Why is Terrakion on this team? Because Terrakion's actually a threat. Terrakion's actually a threat. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. I do like Toxapex in this matchup. Toxapex is pretty good. Do I want to bring Dark Urshifu? I think it might be pretty good. At least to my knowledge, Palkia doesn't get beat up. Terrakion's actually pretty scary. I don't know if I have the best answers for it. Terra-wise, my bring Terapagos, because there's a chance I don't bring Terapagos in this matchup. I definitely bring Rillaboom for sure. There's a lot of redirection with Kyogre. Actually, no, I think I need Terapagos, right? Because there's so much redirection with Kyogre that I probably need Starstorm. I need pressure. Yeah, I probably do. I'm gonna go with, I think Terapagos. Toxapex makes a lot of sense. I do bring Ho. It's good into like the non-restricteds other than Terrakion. And I definitely bring Rillaboom for sure and back. I don't lead with Rillaboom because they have an Indeedee that could lead. So this is going to be a tough one. This is a really tough one. Matchup wise, this does not look pretty. Mainly because Terrakion is actually a huge threat. But also the fact that the double waters. Yeah, that's something I'm going to have to respect a lot. We're going to see the lead of the Terrakion plus Indeedee, which is cool, as I lead Terrakion and Terapagos. So I would not say this is a bad position. Depends on the Indeedee having Psychic, which is going to be a thing. I think my best play, though, is just to go Rillaboom. Yeah, it's probably Rillaboom for the Toxapex slot. Or do I go Rillaboom for the other slot? So what I'm thinking here is I have a few options. I like the idea of going for Infestation and Indeedee to trap it, so I always have grassy terrain up and going out into my Rillaboom. And I kind of like that option. I was also debating about going Rillaboom for the other slot and going for Protector Terapagos, so I could go for Fake Out plus Substitute the next turn, but I actually think I like this idea more, with the idea to trap the Indeedee so I don't have to worry about it in the future turns and then get T-Spike up. Oh, they switch out the Indeedee. Super smart by them, by the way. Palkia coming in. All right, that's fine. I do get the infestation off into Palkia. Terra coming out from Terrakion immediately. What Terra are you going for? Well, they're weak to my Terapagos now. Terra Poison. Oh, so now they have a switch to T-Spike. Interesting. Okay. I don't think I hate this position, but it's... Oh. Well, I'm glad I switched in Rillaboom because that is an Earthquake. Telepathy, not going to allow the Palkia to be effective, but you know what? I didn't take too much damage. I am okay with this as I do get Infestation lock in the Palkia. Okay, that's still pretty decent. So is this entity coming in for the Terrakion, I guess is the question. As that infestation damage is going to build up on Palkia. I think my play here is to always go for infestation into Terrakion. I want a Wood Hammer to Palkia really badly, because if I get the Wood Hammer to Palkia, I think that's good damage, but also the Terrakion could switch into Entity to prevent Fake Out. Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't want to switch. So this is the Entity. Okay, now they're both trapped in, which is nice, to the infestation. And it made sense because if I went for a T-Spike, that meant they were going to be able to get rid of it with the Terrakion switch. And they go for a substitute. So this is actually really ideal. They also took a lot of damage with that substitute. So I am not complaining. Woodhammer going to come out into the Palkia for some damage. More importantly, infestation is now up into the Entity. And now both of these Pokemon are trapped, which is massive. So looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Infestation. I guess I'll reveal my last one as Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh's not nearly as important in this matchup unless I want to go for Terra Grass, which I could afford to in this matchup, but I'm not 100% certain. Wait, did the Palkia not take... Wait, where's my infestation? Wait, where's my infestation? This is bound. Why is the Palkia not bound? Did the substitute get rid of my infestation? Is that how it works? I think so. It was infested, right? And I know you can go for infestation of both Mons and trap them. We did that literally. That's weird. Okay. Gonna go Ho-Oh for the slot. Now they can actually switch out to Palkia, which makes this really weird. All right. We go out of Ho-Oh. Oh boy. I'm hoping this is in the Toxapex. Ideally, it's in the Toxapex here. As we get the Baneful Bunker off. This Draco? Oh, it's Fire Blast. Wait, so substitute Fire Blast? This is some crazy combinations, by the way. I don't think they have Earth Power, but they might have a Dragon move. Yeah, this is just so strange. I'm gonna go for Infestation again, I guess. If you read the Rillaboom switch, good play, but I don't think I hate it too much. I just want to make sure I never get Psychicked on the Toxapex. I think it's okay to take a Draco Meteor, but I don't know. Like, I can see Hydro Pump into Ho-Oh plus a Psychic into Toxapex. I can see the double up in the Toxapex, which I think is fine. I'd get a free switch to Terapagos, and then I think I get a free substitute up. Yeah, I'm just so confused by the infestation. I guess substitute. I wonder if it's... I guess, like, going for substitute gets rid of infestation, so that's actually a really neat mechanic that I did not know about. Rillaboom gonna come in, unless that's a bug, but I don't think it's a bug. I think that's actually programmed, but I've never heard of that before because I never used this move. All Me gonna come out, which is perfect. Is this substitute? No. Ooh, good Fire Blast play. That shouldn't KO. Nice. Because they didn't commit. Beautiful. You get infestation off into the Entity. So we're still chipping away the Entity, which is nice. All right. I mean, I still think I just go for a Fake Out into the Palkia and an infestation. If they go, I don't know if they have Protect. That's the thing. We'll find out, I suppose. But I am going to go for Fake Out. I feel like Palkia should have Hydro Pump on this team because I feel like the point of running Palkia Kyogre, really strong Hydro Pumps, especially because the item boosts it. So, I don't know. I'm just going to go for Fake Out plus the infestation. We're healing nicely with Toxapex 2. I don't think the Palkia is Protect. If they swap, they get infested unless they follow me with Entity, but that means more damage that Entity's taking, which is fine. But let's see. Did he retreat the Palkia? Is this Terrakion? Yeah, that's Terrakion. That's cool. Do I need Rillaboom for much in this game? I don't really need Ho-Oh. That's the thing, though. I really don't need Ho-Oh. Imprison. Okay. As we get the infestation off into Terrakion. So Terrakion's trapped in now, which is kind of massive, actually. Okay. I'm feeling this right now. I'm feeling this. So it's probably Imprison. What move is you were thinking of? Unless they misclicked, but they should have just stuck with Follow Me. because I don't know what move that they're blocking. And he doesn't get any of these moves. By the way, since they're trapped, I can go for... I have a lot of plays I can go for. I think my best play is just to wide guard swap into Ho-oh. Because Ho-oh will be able to tank these attacks. Rillaboom will be able to stick around, get the Grassy Glide off into Kyogre in the later parts of the game. So I really like that. And then next turn, I could go for T-Spike Protect. And if I get the T-Spike up, it's massive into the Palkia as well as the other slot. So they're going to go for Helping Hand. I don't know if this is Helping Hand Rock Slide. Fighting move is pointless. So I'm pretty happy with just getting this wide guard up. Terra Poison Terra Blast, sure. Oh, should eat that just fine. Ah, that did a lot of damage. Wait, is that Choice Band? That might be... Wait. Yeah, that might be Choice Band, actually. I think that is Choice Band, because that did do some insane damage. Okay, if it's Choice Band, that's fine. We do want that T-Spike up really badly. Ooh, Entity's freed from Infestation, though. Do I want T-Spike or do I want Infestation? I think I would rather have Infestation into Entity. And I think I want to go Terapagos. Yeah, I'm gonna go Terapagos here. I feel like they might stay in the Helping Hand again, which is fine, because Terapagos will just be able to heal back all this with the recovery. Yeah, they do retreat to Entity, so this should always be out into Palkia. Oh, that's Kyogre, isn't it? It's the last one. Oh, it's Amoonguss back. Huh. No Kyogre. I guess that makes sense. Like, Kyogre against Terapagos Rillaboom's really tough, but I mean, that works out for me. Because, yeah, Terapagos eats these attacks. We get the Infestation off into the Amoonguss. Are you Cover Cloak, I guess, is a good question. I am healing, which is nice. They can Pollen Puff eventually, though, because I don't have the greatest ways of... Yes, I actually need my Ho-oh. So I'm glad I kept my Ho-oh around. Do I need Terapagos as much? Can I go for Earth Power? Because if I KO the... Well, I don't even have to go for that, right? I could go for a Starstorm if I want to knock out the Tarak. I think going for the KO on the Tarak is really good. Because if I get the T-Spike up plus the Starstorm, I think I'm in a really good endgame position. Yeah, I think that's pretty good, especially because we know that Terrakion is Choice Banded based on the damage. So I'm thinking we get the Starstorm off. Like, I'm trying to avoid Amoonguss Pollen Puffing everything and basically reducing what I've tried to accomplish in this game. I want to set up this T-Spike here and get this Poisons off for the rest of the game. We get rid of Grassy Terrain. We could set it up later if we really need to, but it's not necessary. We're going to see the Terra Blast, but there's nowhere near enough damage on Terapagos. I could have subbed here, but I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, it's definitely Choice Banded. We get Starstorm damage into Amoonguss, which is pretty helpful. The Amoonguss is trapped in with Infestation. If they go for Spore, that's okay. We did a bit less damage to Amoonguss than I thought, but we do get the knockout on Terrakion, which is massive. All right. T-Spike gonna go up. And you cannot get rid of this poison. Gonna be affecting your entire team. They did Pollen Puff. Beautiful. All right, that's such a massive turn. That is such a massive turn. As we do get the leftovers heal on Terapagos. The fact that the Amoonguss did not get a Spore off here is fantastic. The Amoonguss is getting chipped away by this Infestation. It's looking pretty good right now. Citrus Berry Amoonguss. Okay, so it gets to heal a bit, which is kind of annoying, but sure. I cannot believe we're being Terrakion like double water with this team. We're gonna see the Entity come. Are you giving up? There's no way you went Entity here. I think they're giving up. I don't see what Entity does here. We saw him Prison. Follow Me. Helping Hand. It should be Trick Room as the last move. If you have Psychic, you got me, but I don't think that's the case. I'm gonna Baneful Bunker and click substitute. I don't think there's a punish here. Yeah, battle gonna be forfeited. Like, that's just like, if you want to try to win this game, you had to go into Palkia. You had to go for Pollen Puffs. But yeah, it just makes sense because they're like, they take so much damage at this point. I don't even know if Palkia can even knock out the Terapagos at the range is at. And I still have Pokemon in the back, right? With Rillaboom. The Amoonguss is trapped in. It's on a timer. Once Amoonguss goes down, they can't Pollen Puff. So it's looking really bad for them to be able to actually win that. So yeah, like, I do understand at that point. But yeah, I can't believe I faced Terrakion with this team. That's crazy. All right, let's go over to games. I think I should have probably started off with an Infestation if I knew that the Toxapex was going to be able to survive a +1 Earth Power, which was pretty insane from a Stellar Terapagos. But in general, was able to do exactly what I wanted to, be able to set up the T-Spikes. And then once I got rid of the Terapagos, thanks to Ho-oh not getting fully paralyzed, I was just able to just wait it out because the poison was just wearing them down, and was able to win the game that way. In game 2, I was very surprised they gave me their Ho-oh answer, which was the Urshifu turn 1, which is not what I was anticipating at all, but it ended up working out really well. And then once I made another read of being able to get a Grassy Glide Earth Power combo into the Calyx Shadow Rider, I pretty much put it low enough to where I was able to win the game to pick up the knockout into it, and then they just couldn't really beat my remaining Pokemon, especially going to be the Ho-oh combined with the Toxapex. In game 3, I guess I could have went for the Infestation immediately into Urshifu and trap it so my Rillaboom could actually put on pressure into it to KO it, which would have actually been massive for Ho-oh, and I think that would have been a better turns. But I was able to trap into Fighting Mons, which was nice, and get a lot of chip damage across the board. This allowed to set up for a very nice end game with Terapagos, as Terapagos plus Toxapex was in such a great position because all my opponent's remaining Mons were just so low on HP that as long as I was able to pick up a knockout that turn, I was pretty much able to seal the victory there. In game 4, I cannot believe I played a Terrakion with Palkia. I also learned a new thing about Infestation. Apparently, it goes away if you get rid of their substitute, if they go for a substitute, which is definitely something. But yeah, Choice Band Terrakion, which was interesting to note, but gladly I did get the trap in. I was able to get the KO, and that big turn where I was just able to knock out Terrakion while Amoonguss didn't get a Spore off was just massive, because that really opened up the doors for my rest of the team to just come in and pick up the finished remaining Mons. This team was definitely slower than a lot of other teams we played. Of course, you are relying more on Toxic Spikes. You have a lot of things on going around on the field with the Leftovers Recovery on Terapagos, the Grassy Surge. You have the Toxapex that's healing, the constant Regenerator switching. So there is a lot of move animations going on, but this team does have some pretty strong suits, and I think Ho-oh Terapagos is actually not a bad pairing. If you'd like to try out the team, the rental code is on the screen. It's only available for a week, so make sure you grab it while you can, as well as the one who recreated the Eevee spreads. I'll link them down below in the description, and of course subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.